Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here today again with another astrology video. And to kind of sink into the Cancer season, I thought I'd just talk to you guys about my family's astrology. So I really don't know where this video is going to go. It's just me sitting and talking and really connecting with you guys with that. Oh, and by the way, before we get started, I'd just like to say thank you so much for everyone who has sent me emails or messaged me on Instagram or Facebook giving me their birth information for the upcoming Hidden Talents video. It is coming up. I am working on it. It does take a while to go through everyone's birth information because there's like a lot of people that I have to go through and really try to choose the best one to use as an example in the Hidden Talents, how to find your Hidden Talents video. So yeah, I'm definitely working on that and it's definitely coming out. And yeah, just thanks guys for really participating, you know? It's just so fun and exciting. So yeah, because Cancer does rule the moon and it rules the fourth house, the house of family, and the moon is the mother and the family life. So yeah, I thought I'd just talk a little bit about my family's astrology and how I get on with them or I don't get on with them and how they get on or don't get on with each other. And also, if you guys want to, you know, share a little bit about your own family and what the sun and moon of your parents and your siblings are, and yours as well, and how you get along with them and how you kind of grew up and things like that, it'd be really interesting to know, and it would be a really great way to absorb in the Cancerian energy this month. So comment below, let us know what your family's astrology is like. So okay, I don't really know, let's start with my dad then, shall we? So my dad is an Aries with an Aquarius moon. So he's actually a really independent person, right? When you combine these two suns and moon together. I don't know what his rising and other placements are, but basically you can pretty much figure out someone's moon sign just based on their birth year. So yeah, Aries and Aquarius moon, he's very independent, but he kind of is someone who has a lot of obligations to fulfill. So I don't really know what's going on his chart there, but in my chart, it's really funny because I have my sun, so I'm a Taurus and I have my moon in Cancer, and I actually have my sun opposite Pluto in my chart, and my sister, who is an Aquarius with an Aquarius moon, she's a double friggin' Aquarius with a lot of planets in her 11th house, she's so Aquarian. She's also got her sun squaring Pluto. So yeah, though I don't know my dad's birth chart, you can pretty much see the pattern that is being repeated in my chart and my sister's chart of a Sun-Pluto theme, which is indicative of the fact that our dad definitely had a lot of stuff happening to him that was pretty traumatic and that was pretty dark. And that is true. He had a pretty dark past, which I don't really want to get into really in detail. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened to him that kind of really was stressful in his life. So it's shown up as, as the sun, by the way, it represents the father figure in your chart. So yeah, it's just funny how these themes appear in both me and my sister's chart. And also I have my sun in the 11th house and my sister has her sun in Aquarius. So there's an Aquarian theme here with our father, meaning to say that he's a very public figure. He's he actually works as a he worked as a diplomat. He's retired now, but he was a diplomat, so he's really like in the government and super ambitious and really got his way up to the top, to the point where he was his last post was as the general consult in Malaysia. So he deals a lot with people in the public. He helps Thai people who were there in Malaysia, and yeah, and the fact that he's a diplomat is really funny because the other indicator of the father in your natal chart is Saturn, and so I actually have Saturn in my 7th house, and the 7th house is ruled by Libra, and Libra is the diplomat, right? So father's a diplomat. It's like, it's funny how that just plays out in the natal chart. So I didn't grow up having the best relationship with my dad, of course, because he's an Aries and I'm just a Taurus. We just don't really get along. We have a lot of fights while we were growing up. It was just more of him thinking I'm being emotional, and he's always kind of afraid that I can't control my emotions, that I'm gonna grow up and be too dramatic, and people are gonna not get along. I'm not gonna get along with people because I'm too emotional and stuff. So he would kind of like want to suppress, want to control my emotions. You know, if I cry, he'd be like, stop crying, stuff like that. So I did view him as this Pluto influence in my life, you know. Although he was very 11th housey Aquarius-y, he was also very Plutonic. Kind of a fearful person, shall I say. But there was a lot of transformation in the relationship between me and him, and with himself as well. Like, right now, after his retirement, he's like a completely different person. Like, he's just so nice now. He's switched from that Scorpionic, Plutonic person to like the eagle, right? The phoenix now. And he's so nice, and he gives me freedom. Now you can just do whatever you want to do with your life. He's very understanding, and he's very good advice giver. Yeah, if there's like one thing that I really like about my dad, one thing, is that yes, with that Aquarius moon, I think he is able to give a lot of great advice objectively. And he really has a great perspective on things. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, my mom is a Leo with a Sagittarius moon. She's very fiery, and she has Mars and Gemini, by the way. And I think her sun and moon and Mars are opposing each other. So she's kind of moody and temperamental, but it doesn't really bother me that much because just kind of she gets over it pretty quickly. So yeah, my mom's just really easy to get along with. I'm really close to her. Also, I have a Cancer moon, right? So I'm like much closer to my mom than I am with my dad. So mom's always the one that I tell a lot of stuff to, that I'm emotionally more connected with, and I feel like I can tell her stuff that I can't tell my dad. And sometimes I would ask her permission to do things that we're sure our dad, like my dad, would not allow, but she would be kind of like, it's okay, you can do it. And then she would just go and tell my dad a different story to, you know, cover to cover up for me, basically. So she's kind of like the cool mom, basically. Yeah, she's kind of a cool mom. But yeah, she's like really into she's very creative. She's really into singing, and she even has her own band right now, and she goes sometimes to like the recording studio to sing and make CDs and stuff. So it's very Leo, Sagittarius, right? Very creative. But there's also this thing where like, yes, although she's like a really cool mom, there's also this thing where she has a lot of expectations for both me and my sister. And that is showing up, it's so funny, as me having a moon opposite Saturn. And the moon in the natal chart represents your mother, right? And my sister has her moon conjunct Saturn. So the theme of Saturn and the mom is coming up, just like Pluto and the dad. It's funny how that shows up. But yeah, there's just a lot of responsibility. Like me and my sister, we're like really responsible people. Like, we had our first job when we were like 14, and we started wanting to make money since then. And my sister is very much like, because her moon is conjunct Saturn, so she's more of like, how do I say this, like really wanting to save up for retirement and just making money. Doesn't matter if she doesn't like the job that much, just gonna make money. But because my moon is opposite Saturn, I'm kind of more of like, how do I say, aware of this, and kind of sometimes just want to change this kind of working mentality. Anyways, so yeah, throughout our childhood, it was just kind of like mom's just expecting us to be very grown up, being very proper people. And there's a lot of like societal expectations as well, you know, with like my dad working for the government. So it's kind of like, well, and they have a lot of contacts with people in the embassy, right? They have lots of friends in the embassy, and you know, people in the embassy are really like formal people and they really expect you to be at the top of your game in your career. So it was always kind of like, you have to get good grades in school, okay? A C in my report card was just like a disappointment for them, so there's that. So it's always kind of like either A's or B's. You got a C? How'd you get a C? You know? Yeah, so my sister and I worked really hard in school and things like that, and we were just like really responsible kids. But apart from that, generally, my mom is someone that you can kind of just talk to her about anything. And I mean, she can kind of come around. She's not difficult to come around, which is different from my dad. He's either like no or yes. Now he's like yes, but in the past he was like no with a lot of things. But my mom has always been kind of like, oh really? Oh yeah, okay, sure. Oh yeah, I know, I understand that you want to do that. Okay. She's more like compassionate than my dad. My dad is innately sensitive, but it's hard for him to show love and compassion. But for my mom, it's much easier for her to express love and compassion. So my sister, being an Aquarius with an Aquarius moon, she has a Pisces rising, by the way. She was always she always grew up as a kid who was like very quiet, and she kept to herself a lot of the times, and she never really expressed what she really felt. Where I was like with the Gemini rising and my moon in Cancer in the first house and my Mars in the first house, I was like always the one where my parents were just annoyed of because I would talk too much and I would annoy my sister and I would try to get attention all the time and I couldn't keep my feelings inside and I would cry a lot when I was younger, and my sister was the one that's kind of like looking at me and like, what the hell's going on with you, Tan? And so I feel like my sister has this like inner rebellion where she does not want to be like me because she can see the way that I was and she didn't like it, so she's like, you know, with those Pisces Aquarius stuff going on, it's kind of like she just keeps to herself kind of the time, most of the time. And yeah, so me and my sister, we don't really, I mean, when we were younger, of course we would play with each other because as kids they just want anybody to play with, but like I feel like there's something that is not compatible with the both of us. Like our moon signs are, well, not compatible, but like our suns are square each other, right? Because Taurus and Aquarius square each other, and I think it does square in the synastry as well. Not that I'm gonna square with all Aquarius suns, but with her it does make that aspect of the square. And I think her sun even goes into my 8th house or something like that. And so I know that we'll be there for each other when we have to be. Like, of course, it's like karma, right? Siblings, we're like karmically tied together. But like we don't really hang out and stuff because it would be kind of like she'd be like, oh, I'm really excited, I really want to, you know, do this, let's do this today. And I'd be like, okay, when do you want to do it? And she'd be like, yeah, like later today. And then later on in the day, she'd be like, Tan, I kind of don't want to do it anymore. Very unpredictable Aquarius, right? So I'd be like, all right, fine. I don't mind. Yeah. And she's a really typical Aquarius. Like, she's really emotional when it comes to love because she does have her Venus in Pisces, by the way. But in terms of like family and other things, she is very detached, actually. She even calls herself detached. She sometimes says, I don't have any feelings or emotions. And I'm like, well, you do. But anyways, so that's really funny. Yeah. So, oh, and the other really funny thing is that, you know, my parents are so fiery, right? Aries and Leo. and my mom has a Sagittarius moon. They're really energetic. They, like, of course they don't, there are times when they didn't quite get along, or they have their differences, but a lot of the times they're pretty much about the same things. And me and my sister really view our parents as being a little bit weird because like the 11th house is the weird house, right? So my sister has her moon in the 11th house and I got my sun in the 11th house. So like I would view my dad as weird, she would view mom as weird, but we both view our parents as weird because they are weird at some levels. Like they have hobbies that is weird, and they sometimes will try to make, like my dad sometimes try to make jokes that is not funny, but he would laugh about it by himself. I guess all dads do that, but like our perception of him is weird. And my mom is really like too much of a cool mom. She goes on Instagram and Facebook and stuff all the time, and like tries and like likes all my photos and things and like watches my YouTube videos, like before I used to make travel videos, and even some of my Instagram photos, and she would like send them to her friends. And she has like I'm not sure if you know Line, but it's kind of like WhatsApp, but it's another way of, and it's another kind of chat application. So she has Line, where she has like so many different groups in her Line chat, and each group has like 50 people in there, and she's got like 10 groups, and each group's like 50 people, 20 people, 70 people in the group. And she would share like my pictures and my stuff with every of those groups. So it's like, Mom, what are you doing? So yeah, it's really weird. And my dad has all these really weird hobbies. After retirement, he goes and lives by himself in solitude, like a hermit, in this house that he builds in like another city, and he starts gardening. He has this huge, massive garden with all these plants there in that house. Like, he has a small farm of limes actually, small lime farms, and he grows trees and things that he dates. He even has a date tree that he gets from the seeds from somewhere, and just a bunch of different trees. And it's just weird because it was like he was a diplomat before and now he's like a farmer. So yeah, me and my sister, we think our parents are super weird. That's our perception of them. And they're super fiery, right? They have so much energy. Like when we are a family, like the four of us together, like me and my sister, we don't have any fire in our chart. So we'd be like the lazy kids, and the parents would be like the energetic parents. And we just don't understand where they got all their energy from. They'd be like going out, doing stuff all the time. Mom's going shopping, dad's gardening. Dad's meeting up with people, mom's meeting up with people, mom's traveling with her friends. And we're just like, what's going on here? We don't know really where they are most of the time. They're just like going around doing their own thing. So yeah, there's that. But there's also like, even though they're very fiery and airy, but like my sister's also very airy, right? So my family's filled with fire and air, and they're very busy, they're doing stuff all the time, and here I am, I'm like this water and earth, Taurus, Cancer moon. I have some air, obviously, I've got Gemini rising, Mercury in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini, but mostly I'm like water, earth, some air dominant. And I sometimes feel like a black sheep in the family, and sometimes my mom would be there in a room with my sister, they'd be talking or something, and then I'd walk into the room and my mom would be like, oh, here comes the odd one. Here comes the black sheep. And I'm like, Mom, thanks a lot. So anyways, yeah, it's just, I just act differently than the way that my family is. Oh, because also my sister is a diplomat now, so she does work in the embassy, so she's kind of like following dad's path. And here I am, you know, making a YouTube channel, being an astrologer and things. So it's just very black sheep-ish. Yeah. Anyways, just something out there. just sharing with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope there was something that you can take away from it. Or if not, then I hope that you just kind of had fun just listening to me talk about my family, being a Cancer moon here. Anyway, guys, so yeah, do comment below what your family dynamics are, what's the astrology of your family, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to come along with us on more astrology journeys. And if you've already subscribed, then thank you very much for still coming along and learning more about astrology and growing together and having better relationships with the people around us. And I'll see you very soon, guys, in the next video. Bye!